Welcome, friends, to a journey through the heart of our economic system. What is money? It's a seemingly simple question, yet its answer is anything but. Money isn't just about dollar bills or digital transactions, it's about power, the forces that shape our lives, opportunities, and futures. From ancient barter systems to cryptocurrencies, we'll trace the evolution of money and its impact on our world. Get ready to have your eyes opened. This isn't just a documentary about money. It's about power, justice, and the fight for a fairer society. Imagine a world without money. Hard, isn't it? Picture a time when people had to rely solely on the goods they produced to obtain what they needed. No cash, no credit cards, just pure barter. For centuries, that was reality. Communities thrived on the direct exchange of goods and services, a practice that required mutual need and trust. People traded goods directly, a system known as barter. This system, while functional, had its limitations. It was often difficult to find someone who had what you needed and who also needed what you had. A farmer might trade wheat for a blacksmith's tools, but what if the blacksmith didn't need wheat? The inefficiency of barter led to the search for a more flexible system. Enter money, a revolutionary concept acting as a common medium of exchange. Money simplified transactions, making trade more efficient and allowing economies to grow. Early forms included shells, beads, even cattle. These items were chosen for their durability, divisibility, and general acceptance within communities. Over time, we evolved to coins, then paper money, each iteration representing a chapter in our economic story. Coins made of precious metals like gold and silver became standard due to their intrinsic value. Those who controlled money's creation and distribution held the reins of power. The ability to mint coins or print money became a significant source of authority and influence. The invention of banking concentrated this power further, creating money through lending. Banks became the new powerhouses, influencing economies and governments. Today, digital currencies like Bitcoin promise to upend traditional power structures. These decentralized currencies operate without a central authority, challenging the dominance of traditional banks and governments. Will they democratize money or create new elites? The future of money is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the way we think about and use money is evolving rapidly. Wall Street. The very name conjures images of towering skyscrapers, bustling streets, and the relentless pursuit of wealth. A symbol of American capitalism, ambition, and dreams, where fortunes are made and lost in the blink of an eye. But beneath the glittering surface lies a darker narrative, one of greed and corruption that has repeatedly shaken the foundations of our economy. Financial crises often stem from human failings and unchecked greed. Let's rewind to 2008, a year that exposed the fragility of our financial systems. The housing bubble burst, sending shockwaves through the global economy. Families were torn apart as they lost their homes, and entire neighborhoods were left desolate. Millions lost homes, jobs, and livelihoods. The ripple effects were felt far and wide, from small towns to major cities. Complex financial instruments, once hailed as innovative, turned toxic. These instruments, traded recklessly, became the very catalysts of the crisis. Banks teetered on the brink of collapse, their foundations eroded by bad loans and poor decisions. The American taxpayer bailed them out, a controversial move that sparked outrage and debate across the nation. Did we learn our lesson? Not entirely. While some reforms were put in place, the underlying issues remain. Some reforms were enacted, like the Dodd-Frank Act, aimed at increasing transparency and accountability. But fundamental power structures remain unchanged. Our financial system is still vulnerable, driven by deregulation, lack of transparency, and insatiable greed. The cycle of boom and bust continues. Money, when misused, can be a weapon to amass power and influence. It can shape policies, sway elections, and determine the fate of nations. The question remains, will we ever truly learn from our past mistakes? The American dream's success through hard work. It's a promise that has driven generations to strive for a better life, to believe that with enough effort, anyone can achieve prosperity and happiness. But is it still a reality? For many, the dream feels increasingly out of reach. The cost of living continues to rise while wages remain stagnant, leaving families struggling to make ends meet. The gap between rich and poor is wider than ever. In cities across America, luxury mansions stand in stark contrast to modest homes and homeless encampments, highlighting the growing economic divide. A tiny elite amasses wealth while the middle class shrinks. The once thriving neighborhoods are now in decline, and the stress of financial insecurity weighs heavily on many families. It's about policy choices, tax cuts for the wealthy, deregulation, and policies that favor the rich. These decisions have profound impacts on the everyday lives of ordinary people. Stagnant wages for working people. CEO pay skyrockets, creating a vast disparity in income. The average worker sees little to no increase in their paycheck, while executives enjoy massive bonuses. Meanwhile, the minimum wage remains stagnant. Workers in essential jobs like fast food and retail struggle to survive on wages that haven't kept pace with inflation. Corporations lobby for tax breaks while families struggle. This isn't just unfair, it's unsustainable. Concentrated wealth undermines democracy and stifles growth, creating a society where only a few can thrive. We need a system that prioritizes the well-being of ordinary Americans. Communities must come together to demand change, to ensure that everyone has a fair shot at success. The American dream should be accessible to all, a beacon of hope and opportunity, not just a distant fantasy for the privileged few. It's time to reclaim the dream, to make it a reality for everyone, regardless of their background or economic status. Corporations are driven by profit, but what happens when profit trumps ethics and the law? From Enron's fraud to Volkswagen's emissions scandal, these aren't isolated incidents. They're symptoms of a deeper problem. A corporate culture prioritizing short-term profits over long-term sustainability incentivizes greed. The pharmaceutical industry price gouges life-saving drugs, and the fossil fuel industry denies climate change for profit. This system externalizes costs onto society while privatizing profits. It's time for change. The American dream now feels like a debt sentence. We're a nation drowning in debt. Young people graduate with student loan debt, unable to buy homes or invest in their futures. Families rely on credit cards for necessities, trapped in a cycle of debt. It's about stagnant wages, rising living costs, and a rigged system. Predatory lending, high interest rates, and consumerism messages trap us in debt. This isn't just about personal responsibility, it's a systemic issue. We need a system that doesn't benefit from our financial insecurity. Our relationship with money is deeply emotional, shaped by upbringing and experiences. Why do some hoard wealth while others spend recklessly? The answer lies in the psychology of money. Money represents security, power, even love. We spend to impress, fill voids, or numb pain. The financial industry exploits our emotions, making us feel inadequate and anxious. Understanding the psychology of money helps us break free from manipulative tactics. It's about developing a healthier, more sustainable relationship with our finances. We live in a globalized world, interconnected by trade and technology. Globalization has benefits but also challenges, especially for working people. Corporations seek cheap labor and weak regulations, leading to a race to the bottom. In the US, manufacturing jobs disappear, wages stagnate, and communities suffer. In developing countries, workers face exploitation and unsafe conditions. We need a global economy that works for everyone, not just the wealthy few. All men are created equal. But are we equal in our political system? Money distorts priorities, amplifies wealthy voices, and drowns out ordinary Americans. Elections are expensive, funded by wealthy donors and special interests seeking influence. The revolving door between Wall Street and Washington undermines democracy. We need to get big money out of politics, overturn Citizens United, and empower small donors. Our democracy depends on amplifying the voices of ordinary Americans. It's time to reclaim our political system from the wealthy elite. The American dream of homeownership is becoming out of reach for many. Housing costs have skyrocketed, outpacing wage growth. Working families can't afford decent homes. Teachers, firefighters, and nurses are priced out of their communities. Young people delay homeownership due to student loan debt. Homelessness affects the most vulnerable among us. Decades of policy choices have prioritized the wealthy over working families. We need to invest in affordable housing and ensure everyone has a stable place to call home. We stand at a crossroads in the evolution of money. The digital revolution is transforming finance. Cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology offer the promise of a decentralized, transparent financial system. They could empower individuals and reduce the power of banks. Blockchain could revolutionize industries, increasing efficiency and transparency. But cryptocurrencies are volatile and susceptible to manipulation. They could exacerbate inequality and pose challenges for regulators. The future of money depends on the choices we make today. We need to ensure innovation serves the common good, not just the wealthy. We've covered a lot of ground, from the history of money to technological innovations. This isn't just about understanding the problem, it's about finding solutions. The fight for a fairer financial system is one we must all engage in. Stay informed, stay engaged, and never stop fighting for a better tomorrow. The power to change the system rests in our hands.